and welcome to an episode of I Can Do That with the Prosper Community Library. My name is Sharon Alderton, and today we're going to be using chalk paint. Now, I know a lot of people, when it comes to painting, get a little overwhelmed, but I feel like chalk paint is such a forgiving paint, and it's easy to use, it's easy to clean up, and so we're going to use it today. I know a lot of us during the pandemic have been looking around our houses and thinking of ways to spruce up our space and not spend a lot of money, and I feel like this is a really good option for you. So today I'm going to go ahead and paint this chair that's going upstairs in a room that we're kind of making a creative space for our kids, and we're going to be using the Bungalow 47 clawfoot tub paint. And of course you can get chalk paint. There's Annie Sloan's. I know there's different chalk paints at Home Depot and Lowe's. Whatever you feel like you want to use, go for it. I also like to use just regular paintbrushes. I know that there are some pretty fancy chalk paint brushes out there, but I honestly think that these work just fine. So don't feel like you have to go out and buy anything fancy. These work just great. The other thing about chalk paint too is that you don't shake chalk paint when you are ready to use it. You actually stir it. So what I'm gonna do right now is take off my lid and give it a nice little, this is dry, so I'm gonna give it a nice little stir. All right, and that should do the trick. Another thing you wanna have handy while you're painting is to make sure you've got some paper towel handy. One thing I really like about chalk paint is that it can be cleaned with soapy water. If you get it on your clothes or on your hands, just immediately use soapy water and it should come right off. But if you don't do it immediately on your clothes, you might have a painted outfit. Okay, another thing is, so what I have here is just a little chair from Pottery Barn that I've had for years. One thing you want to do is you want to get a little rag, maybe a soapy rag or a half vinegar water solution, and you want to just clean your furniture. That's really the only prep that you need to do when you're using chalk paint, which I also really love because there's no sanding or anything like that. It just goes right on whatever surface you have. But once you've cleaned your furniture and it's ready to paint, now the fun stuff begins, right? What you want to make sure you do too is while you're painting, make sure you're getting in all the cracks and you're giving it a really nice coat. If you feel like the chalk paint is a little thick, you can always add a little bit of water at a time to see what kind of consistency that you want to use. Sometimes chalk paint can go on one coat, sometimes it can go on in two coats. We're just going to kind of see how this one goes. Make sure you have a nice back little drop cloth to make sure you don't make a mess, or at least try not to make a mess. This is also a really fun activity you can do with your family. Kids really love to paint too, and they like to get a little messy. It's true. So we're gonna go ahead and get started with this. Once I paint this, we're gonna do kind of a fast forward video of me painting this chair. And then when I'm done, I'm actually not gonna use the clear, I know that Annie Sloan, let me grab this, does a clear and dark wax. I'm actually not gonna use that to finish my chalk paint furniture today. What I'm gonna use is just a matte finish, just a clear lacquer that I'm gonna put on there. And this one is by Bungalow 47. You can also use a paintbrush to apply this. I actually kind of like just using a dust-free cloth. It gives a nice even coat on there and it also dries fast. The other thing I really love about chalk paint is that it's low odor and low VOC, and it dries very quickly. So I'm able to do multiple coats in a day if I feel like it, and I'm not having to wait overnight, or it doesn't become a project that lasts forever. It's a real quick and easy fix. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. Okay everyone, now we have finished our first coat, and as you can see, we have a nice, pretty much white chair here. You want to make sure that your chair is pretty much dry to the touch and that there's no wet spots if you're ready to do your second coat, which we are definitely going to do on this chair today. One other thing I wanted to talk about too is when you're painting, make sure you make a nice smooth stroke. Try not to let anything kind of build up or puddle or make little beads because it will dry that way, and you'll have to kind of sand it down before you do your second coat, or else you're gonna have a big bump in your painting. So without further ado, here comes coat number 2. Okay, so we've gotten 2 coats done on our chair and it's nice and dry. So now it's time to give it a little bit of that clear coat so that we can clean up those spills and everything on the chair super easy when it happens. And what you're gonna do is I've got my dust-free cloth and my clear coat, and I'm just going to put some on my little towel here, and I'm just gonna rub it right on to my chair, just like so. And you can kind of see like a wet mark on the chair, and that's how you know that you have successfully coated that area. And what you're gonna do, you're just gonna do it all over the chair and all the spots. And now I'm gonna do a little fast forward video for you. Here we go. Okay, I just finished our first top coat of the matte finish. I'm gonna let this sit for about 1 to 2 hours to really give it a nice dry surface before I add a second coat to it, which I do think you should add 2 coats of that clear coat on there, just so it's really easy to clean up, especially it's gonna be an arts and craft kind of area. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and just remember you clean all your tools with soap and water, and I hope that you find out that you can do it too. Thanks!